Getting myself together here. Peace, 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 peace. I hope you're doing well out there on this beautiful Friday. Let me 1 second here. 1 second here. I have to boom. There we go. Peace, Jane. I'm gonna give folks a little bit of time to come on in. Hope you're doing. I'm here to answer questions. I'm comfortable, but we got to be honest. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Just open up a couple things. Bam. Okay, I got that. Then, I'm sorry. Peace. If you don't know, I'm Rami Salam. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining the class. The video today, more sovereign citizens, Taj Tarik Bey and RV Bey Publications. Peace, Noble Arm 7. And peace, anybody watching that may be a follower of Taj Tarik Bey or a supporter of Taj Tarik Bey or a friend or family member of Taj Tarik Bey or of RV Bey Publications. Same thing. If you're a supporter, associated with, friend, follower, patron, family, and any of the associated people that I may mention. It's with no disrespect. This is just about truth, one of the divine principles that Moorish Americans are supposed to live and abide by. We're gonna get to it. Let me just open up the link so I have my little reference. And just to be honest with you, I started to make this video. I didn't want to go live. I was going to make it so that I could have a production and put certain images so that you can see for yourself. But I'm going to do that at a later time. Just quite frankly, I'm working on some other things and other issues. So I just didn't have the time to dedicate to really produce the video like I would like to. But I will drop the links in the chat so that you can see for yourself, because I don't want you to believe me. And I mean, this is not about belief. This is about presenting the information, presenting the facts. You know what I mean? And the facts are the facts. Yeah, this is a thing right here. Bam. And then one more second. FBI sovereign citizen. I think this is it right here. No, that was 2001. One moment. I'm going to get started in a second. I just want to get the links together so I can just do my thing without having to search for it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Shout out to Mario Kart, if you know about that, in 64. You don't know nothing about that life. All right. So I got almost there. 1 second. There we go. So I got my links together, got my references. So we're going to get started in a second. Peace. Salahuddin Muhammad L. Peace Lee Bay. Peace Derek T. Jones L. Peace Jane James Blonde 007, peace. Noble Arm 7, peace to you watching. If you're watching live and you in the cut, if you're watching after this is went off live, peace to you. Much love to you. Uh, I'm Rami Mel. This is More Sovereign Citizens, Taj Tarik Bey, and RV Bey Publications. It's time to keep it real. Peace, Tyrone. Better calm down. I'm sorry to focus. All right, so first and foremost, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Because I already understand there's some more. Oh, here go Rami. He finna. Why he dissing Taj and why he? Please just hold on for a second. You know what I mean? Just take it easy. Listen to me. Um, Humbly, I'm asking. I used to, and you can go check the videos. I used to push and promote and champion Taj Tarik Bey, Taj Tarik Bey, and RV Bey publications all the time. And I'm talking 2013, 2014, 2015. As I go back, you can check the footage for yourself. But wise women have always told me, when you know better, you got to do better. You know what I mean? If you knew better, you do better. And when you know better, you have to do better. And when I started learning about the Supreme Grand Council, I started having questions about RV Bey Publications, Taj Tarik Bey, and many of the people that were out in the front calling themselves leaders. But I did my best to not point the finger, not accuse anybody of anything, but just present this issue on the table because this Supreme Grand Council issue is the reason, and our lack of addressing it is the reason why we have this more sovereign citizens issue today. And it's all connected. I'm going to get there. Fast forward, nobody would address the issue. Not Taj, not RV Bey Publications, not any of the people that you want to name. You know what I mean? I continue to learn. I continue to study. Let me go back to what Noble Drew Ali said. This is what I kept telling myself. I kept saying, let me go back to what Noble Drew Ali said. Kept looking at what he said, because he's the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the founder of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. This is the person that we're supposed to follow. And I kept coming up and I kept seeing certain things that were directly opposed to what Taj Tarik Bey and RV Bey Publications and others were pushing. These individuals kept pushing, challenging the jurisdiction, de facto government. They're not the real government, the corrupt, etc. You don't need a driver's license. You don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to pay a mortgage, and you can just do this with the property, etc., etc., etc. You know the deal, right? But when I read Noble Drew Ali, he didn't say none of that. He didn't talk about challenging the jurisdiction or a de facto government, or you don't have to pay taxes, or you don't have to. It was none of that. And so, shout out to the brother. Um, Shout out to the brother of New More Order. Yeah, let me just double check. I gotta get that right. My fault, man. Yeah, New More Order. Shout out to the brother for New More Order. Because on this journey, I've had to humble myself. I've had to admit to myself, hey, you didn't have it all the way correct. You were mistaken on these issues right here. Got to get back to the basics, Rami. You was moving too fast. Slow it down. Humble yourself. Listen more. And so I was listening to this brother, and he pulled up this website, the Southern Poverty Law Center website, and I've seen the group before. But he went to this website, and it was a link on the website to a whole list of people that were considered more sovereign citizens. Rise of the Moors militia group was on there. We already seen the issue with that, and just so we're clear, I didn't put that tag of them being more sovereign citizens. I didn't put that on them. If you look into the press and all the media, the national media, sorry about that. They all addressed and labeled uh, the rise of the Moors militia group as more sovereign citizens, according to their actions. And see, when that brother on the New More Order site, when he went through the list, I also saw RV Bay publications on the website. I mean, on the list rather, of more sovereign citizen. I said, whoa, whoa. Now, see, this is when I had to check myself. I couldn't ignore what I saw. My son calling me on. I don't want to end this session, but I might. Nah, I'm gonna try to focus. I couldn't ignore what I saw when I seen RV Bay publications that on that rock. Let me get the link. Let me not just talk about it. Let me not just talk about it, because man knows not by being told. You know what I mean? I want to get the link for you. So you know for yourself. But when I seen them on the list, it made me have to check myself. You know what I mean? Because if you aren't aware, sovereign citizen, that is a serious issue right now in the United States of America. You may not be aware, but on January 6th, there was a whole bunch of people that stormed the government buildings. All of those people are now being tracked down by the FBI and different authorities and being charged. Let me get that paper. Being charged with seditious conspiracy. Seditious conspiracy. Get you maybe 20 years in prison. I don't know if you're aware about laws and crimes, but just do some studying on conspiracy charges. So when I saw that, then I saw, oh wow, RV Bay Publications is on this list of people that are considered more sovereign citizens. RV Bay Publications, Taj Tarik Bey, they both have been pushing this not paying taxes, no need for driver's license, challenging the jurisdiction, claiming property. All of these activities are considered by the government as sovereign citizen activities and actions. Sovereign citizens are classified as domestic terrorists. It ain't a game. And so I'm gonna still get the link, but my point is, once I seen that they was classified as more sovereign citizens, and I started to do my due diligence and really reflect on things, it was a duty upon me to make the correction, to come here live and let you know my apologies. I may have been misleading people back in the day in some of those older videos where I was saying, hey, go to RV Bay Publications and study. Oh, go listen to Taj Tarik Bey and study and follow and go listen to his teachings because he talks about this, that, and the third. Back then, I was naive. I wasn't as clear on this movement. It was very cleverly weaved in and mixed in with teachings from Noble Drew Ali. But having studied, having reflected on the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, comparing them to what Taj Tarik Bey and RV Bey Publications promotes and pushes and advocates, it's a duty upon me, according to our Quran. Let me pull that up real quick. In the chapter called Justice, it says on line 13, finally, O son of society, examine thy heart, call remembrance to thy aid. And if in any of these things thou hast transgressed, make a speedy reparation to the utmost of thy power. So when you make a mistake and you search your heart and you realize, I messed up. As a Moorish American Muslim, it's my duty to make that right as quick as I can, to the best of my ability. So that's the answer. If anybody is watching, wondering, well, why is Rami talking about this? That's why. Because back in the day, I used to push. You can see the video. I was teaching with Taj. Yeah, facts. But when I knew better, I started to do better. I started to distance myself from those that was teaching this different stuff. But now I have to make it extremely clear. I have to draw that line in the sand and make it crystal clear. True Moorish Americans, that is, Moorish Americans that follow the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. True Moorish Americans, in that sense, are not about not paying taxes. True Moorish Americans are not associated with not having a driver's license or challenging the government's legitimacy or jurisdiction. That is not what true Moorish Americans about. That's not what Rami Salam El is about. First and foremost, let me get that clear. You feel me? But beyond myself, that's not what we Moorish Americans are about. That's not what Noble Drew Ali taught. That's not what the Moorish Science Temple of America is about. And also, for the brothers and sisters of the Moorish Science inside the Moorish Science Temple of America, they may be watching this and say, "See, we told you about that talk. We told you about them." Hey, we still got some discussions about that Supreme Grand Council. There's still some accountability, just so you know. You know what I mean? Being real. That being said, I just wanted to make sure I made it clear, crystal clear, the true Moor, and this is beyond just Moors. Now I'm talking beyond Moors for the general public, to our European brothers and sisters that may be watching this, to anybody in the United States of America that's trying to learn about Moors and Moor science and these Moorish Americans and what is this Moor sovereign citizen stuff. To be clear, Moorish Americans are not about no more sovereign citizen activity. We are not about not paying taxes, driver's license, not having them, not having insurance, not the government's illegitimate. That's not what Moorish Americans are about. But you see, I don't want you to just believe me. And see, I know it's other Moors that try to say, no, well, look at this law and look at that. Well, hold on. Before we get to that, let's get to the words from Noble Drew Ali. See, these are some things, pardon me, these are some things that many people ignore. They don't want to talk about this aspect of Noble Drew Ali. And having studied and reflected on things, I understand why. Because it makes it crystal clear what Moorish Americans are about. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna get to the questions. I see the questions. Peace, much love. I appreciate all the dialogue. Let me catch the people that just came in here. Russell Glover, Ogon Amaru, XI. I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Yeah, I think that's all the new people in there. Yeah. The brother with the Arabic name. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Um, let me. Where is that list? Because I wanted to make sure that I put that list in there, man. Well, I don't want to waste too much time looking for this link to the list, but I'll drop this one in here right now. And then once I'm done with the live, I'll double back through and drop the link for Southern Poverty Law Center that actually has this list of, domestic or sovereign citizens. Because it was a anti-government. That's what it was. They said, yeah. This is it right here. Here we go. And that's another thing. Just to be clear, Moorish Americans are not anti-government. We are not. Moorish Americans, Moorish American Muslims are not anti-government. If you see a Moorish person or a person identifying themselves as a Moor and they are anti-government, understand that is their own individual thing. They are not a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. They are not following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. They're not truly being a Moorish American. And I will now I'm gonna get to what Noble Drew Ali said. Islam, Islam, Islam. Speaking of which, divine warning. Let's get to it. Divine warning. This is coming from Noble Drew Ali. This is paragraph 3, third paragraph. It says, I'm hereby calling on all true citizens to stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. This is Noble Drew Ali calling on help and support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. So just to be clear, Moorish Americans, we are part of the United States of America, not some Moorish nation. I forget all the different, things. The Moroccan Empire, the Moorish National Republic, or they got it's a lot of different little remixes to it. But please understand, Noble Drew Ali never taught any of that. Said very clearly, referring to American citizens of the United States of America and helping to save my people, Moorish Americans, that have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support, further Noble Drew Ali says, to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. Our free national constitution of the United States of America. Just to be clear, and just to further clarify, Noble Drew Ali created the Moorish Science Temple of America and filed it according to state laws in the state of Illinois, one of the states of the United States of America, in the city of Chicago. So understand, Noble Drew Ali respected city, state, and federal law of the United States of America. So anyone that is speaking about being a Moor, but that they are anti-government, that the government doesn't have jurisdiction, that they are de facto, if you hear any of these things, whether you be a Moorish, if you're a Moorish American, you're watching this, if you're not a Moorish American and you're watching this, please understand those individuals is doing their own thing. And I know it's confusing, but just understand, just think they doing their own thing, because true Moorish Americans respect the laws of the government. But I don't want to stop there. Let me keep going. Let's go to March 11th, 1929. Let's see, that's towards the end there. Let's see. Should have wrote the number down. My fault. March 11th, 1929. March 11th, last paragraph. It says, when a man fails after being placed head of the temple by the prophet of obeying our divine laws and constitution, he is a traitor and enemy of the divine creed and unloyal to the national government, USA, to which the movement is to make men and women better citizens. The Moorish Divine and National Movement is to help make Moorish Americans better citizens. Citizens of what? The United States of America. not according to what I said, according to what Noble Drew Ali said and taught. Not my belief, not my opinion, not what I feel or what I think, what I'm saying or trying to convince you to believe. And I'll drop the link in here so you can read all this stuff for yourself. And this is the thing that I want to make clear. These things that I'm reading is not some new information that just popped up in 2022. This information has been there. It's referred to as Moorish literature. And anybody that's claiming to be a Moorish American, a Grand Sheik, a master teacher, a Moorish leader, divine minister, uh, any sort of person with any sort of title or status within this Moorish movement, they should have been had this information and studied this information, so they can't claim that they don't know. And if they do claim that they don't know in a position of leadership, then that in itself says that they're not qualified. Does that make sense? You can't claim to be a leader of a movement or a leader of a temple or a master teacher, but then claim you've never seen this information. That don't really work. You feel me? Let me keep going. Prophet Noble Drew Ali speaks to the nations. Last paragraph. Let's see. There we go, right there. This is Noble Drew Ali. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish national and divine movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. Just so we clear, he wasn't speaking about some other nation, this nation, because he was in Chicago, said American citizen, United States of America. Just so I want to just cement this into our minds, the people watching, so there's no confusion like, oh, Noble Drew Ali. No, this is what it is. The Moorish historical message. Historical, let me get that one. Historical, the Moorish leaders' historical message to America. That's what this speech is called. And this is fifth and sixth paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. Just to further cement what I'm saying. Since the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has been legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office in Illinois. Just so we clear, Illinois, that's a state within the United States of America. And he's talking about filing an affidavit in a county, the county recorder's office, respecting the laws of the city, the state, federal. Understand, Noble Drew Ali obeyed the laws of the government and not some fictitious Moorish Moroccan Empire Republic, the United States of America. Okay, just so we clear. And then further he goes on, he says, inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, we have it as the revealed word of God Allah. We shall foster the principles of its teachings among our members. This is our religious privilege. This is our religious privilege as American citizens, not Moorish nationals, not Moroccan Empire citizens, not Moroccan nationals. It says, this is our religious privilege as American citizens under the laws of one of the greatest documents of all time, the American Constitution. Under the laws. So jurisdiction, we are under the jurisdiction. We're not, that whole argument of they don't have jurisdiction over us is completely false. And I'm I'm humbly asking, moving forward from this point, you know what I mean, that those that have been teaching it to please stop teaching it. Because now you are associating Moorish Americans, Moorish American Muslims with more sovereign citizens and thus domestic terrorists and putting us in danger. And that's not okay. So any of those individuals, those people that are teaching that, if you watching this and you watch them teach that, please ask them to stop. You know what I mean? Because it's not a game. Look up the charge seditious conspiracy, and that's SEDITIOUS conspiracy. CONSPIRACY. Look up that term. Look up the charges and understand what kind of crime that is. Look up the term conspiracy and look up the crimes that are associated with domestic terrorism. It's not a game. You know what I mean? The last one. This the last one, and then I'm gonna be done for the references that I want to read. But I just want to make sure that I cemented in there. Peace, swindle. Peace, new more order. Peace, ways by jungle. PB Moore Bay. I think that's all the new people. Peace. I'm gonna get there in a second. I'm just trying to knock these last things out in the reference just to get it on the record. Moorish Science Temple of America, the first 3 paragraphs. So real quick. The Moorish Science Temple of America was founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Aside from the fact that it is legally organized religious corporation, it is building on human needs. To this desirable end, in time, legitimate means will be found to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress, to aid in the improvement of health, and to encourage the ownership of better homes, to find employment for our members, to teach the fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance and unity. This is what the Moorish Science Temple of America is about. These principles: loyalty and respect to government. Not saying the government is illegitimate or that it doesn't have jurisdiction over me. That is opposite. That is anti to what Noble Drew Ali taught. Let me focus. It is most. I've been trying not to look at the comments, but I see in my much respect. It is most earnestly hoped that the Moorish Science Temple of America will not in any way be confused with any Back to Africa movement. Such is not important insofar as American citizens of our group colonizing Africa are concerned. Again, establishing people within the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Americans, are American citizens. We're not concerned with trying to go back to Africa. We're not trying to colonize Africa. That's not what this movement is about. Just to put that on the record, but also again, if you notice, American citizens, not Moorish nationals, not more sovereigns. Okay. Then the last paragraph: we of the Moorish Science Temple of America, like countless other American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race and creed may be. It is only from a purely religious standpoint, it seems at this time, that we differ from a large number of our fellow Americans. Fellow Americans. Last little piece. We believe in and foster the Muslim religion. We believe in the principles of its teachings insofar as they can be adopted to American life. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. It's all right. In America, religious freedom is guaranteed to all under the Constitution. Not the divine Constitution, not the Zodiac Constitution, not whatever other constitution people may think they're trying to create, but the American Constitution, or the Constitution for the United States of America, because we are American citizens, because we are Moorish Americans, descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So I just had to make sure that I put those references on the record so that it's clear this whole being anti-government, anti the United States of America, that they don't challenge in jurisdiction, um, saying that the laws don't apply to us. If you see Moors talking like that, I don't care who they are. Please understand that they're mistaken. As long as if they're speaking about what Moorish Americans and Noble Drew Ali taught. Now, if they try to do their own thing, that's their own thing. I got no problem with whoever doing whatever they, their own movement. That's their own thing. Can't control them. But I do want to make sure that we clarify in regards to the Moorish Science Temple of America, in regards to Noble Drew Ali, in regards to Moorish American Muslims, that we are not anti-government. We are not Moorish sovereign citizens. We do not agree, teach, promote, or associate with anybody that is doing that anti-government activity, and we shouldn't. And if you didn't know, and if you don't know, now you know. You know what I mean? All right. Now let me get to these questions, please. Appreciate y'all listening to me. Sabir El Bey, shaking my head. Sabir El Bey, do you have a question? Or you just shaking your head? Tell us how you feel, Sabir El Bey. Javon Muhammad, Orlando Tongue. Peace, brother. Pedro Whack-A-Mole. Moorish nationality is only about a 30-year-old fabrication. Well, Pedro Whack-A-Mole, Noble Drew Ali created the Moorish Science Temple officially, you could say, 1925, 1926. So that at least makes it about 90-something years. You know what I mean? Just to be clear. Let me go back to the top. Noble Arm 7, disrespect of GS Taj will not be tolerated. I hope that you listened to what I said, and if there was anything I said that was disrespectful, please let me know. It wasn't my intent to be disrespectful to Taj or anybody, but to clarify and to make it clear that the things that Taj Tarik Bey teaches are not the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. It's not what the Moorish Science Temple of America is supposed to be about, or what Moorish Americans is supposed to be about. So I'm just making a distinction. The things that Taj Tarik Bey is teaching, and he has been teaching for the past, however many decades now, that's his own thing. And just to make sure that we're clear, that's his own thing. You know what I mean? So let's not associate it or not make it seem like he is a Moorish American master teacher, or he is following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, or he is doing that for the sake of the Moorish Science Temple of America or Moorish Americans. That's his own thing, his own teachings. And just for the record, those teachings are now associated with Moorish sovereign citizens, which is associated and labeled and identified by the FBI, not me, by the FBI as sovereign citizens and domestic terrorists. Okay? So if you want to associate with him, I'm just warning you, understand what that may come with. Me personally, Rami Abdullah Salam Male, I'm not associating myself with Taj. I'm making it clear, especially understanding now really what's going on. I want to make it crystal clear to anybody watching that has watched my videos in the past, that may watch them in the future. I'm not associated with him or those teachings. So please don't. If you see, oh, but you used to, yeah, I used to. You feel me? Let me keep going. Case in point, Salahuddin Muhammad El Islam. When I first came across you teaching, you were with all those mentioned. What benefits have you received from them? Things happen, so why the change of heart? Look at Allah. Look at Allah. Um, what benefits have you received from them? Um, I don't, I don't know exactly what you mean with benefits, like medical insurance benefits. I don't receive any benefits from them. I did have, I used to support and buy all the books and the student ID and the right to travel ID and the Moorish nationality card. Yeah, all of that. All of the books and a couple of books 2 times over. I don't feel like grabbing them, but I used to get down with all of that. But then I started studying. Kept studying. I said, well, what is this Supreme Grand Council thing about? And how come it is nothing in the RV Bey publication literature or any videos from Taj Tarik Bey speaking on this issue? And then I asked them about it. And then folks started dodging that question like the Matrix. I said, this, I'm not feeling that. And so I kept digging and I kept studying and I kept reflecting. I kept going back to Noble Drew Ali, and I said, I made a mistake. And I don't have too much pride or too much of an ego to admit, yo, I messed up. My bad. Unlike the other people you may watch. And I think that's why they may be frustrated or mad at me because I'm willing to admit, hey, I made a mistake. I was trying to do too. I was rushing. I was impatient. When I slowed down and studied, I started to realize, this is where we messed up. And if you notice, if you go back to my videos, I haven't moved off the Supreme Grand Council issue since 2016, 2015, somewhere around there. So that's the change of heart, just so you know. Lee Bay, know thyself. Yeah, love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Well, it's funny you mention that. I self-law master. Question, Lee Bay, and question to all the Moorish Americans out there. Did Noble Drew Ali ever say, I self-law master? Did Noble Drew Ali ever teach, I self-law master? If you've seen it in any of the literature or the writings or the saying, the sayings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, have you seen that? Not from what people say that Islam means, and not people saying I self-law master, but have you seen Noble Drew Ali teach that? Something to think about, Lee Bay. Let me know if you find the answer to that. Tyrone, my fault. Yeah, I can imagine folks with Tyrone and heard that joke too many times. Um, let's see. Did you proclaim your nationality with the process and information taught to you by them? Yeah, I thought I did. Well, to be clear, I don't even have it. But to be clear, first I joined the Moorish Science Temple of America. You know what I mean? And I was trying to reach out. I don't even feel like referencing the individuals that I got my temple membership through. But I was trying to do my best to reach out to the folks in Chicago. Um, and I first got my membership to the Moorish Science Temple of America through a temple, you know. And then I said, well, let me get these other Moorish nationality cards, or IDs rather, to further like validate what I'm saying. Um, but what I came to understand is the reason why there's so much confusion, like what was the process for proclaiming your nationality? And you have many different people have their version of how you're supposed to do it. And that's my issue. That's why it's so much confusion. Who has the authority to say this is the way that Moorish Americans proclaim their nationality? Who? Which group? Oh, and also on that anti-government list. Now that I reminded myself, there's also the Moorish Science. Let me not even misquote it because man knows not by being told. Under the Georgia section, the Moorish Science Temple of America 1928 is also on this list of anti-government groups. So that was further reason why I said, man, I need to make sure that I speak on this. But my point is, which group? It's a bunch of different temples claiming they are the Moorish Science Temple of America. They are the official. They are this, that, and the third. But who has the authority to truly say? That's where the Supreme Grand Council comes in. And that's why I haven't moved off that issue, because once we solve that, we get clarification. How do you proclaim your nationality? What's the issue with taxes? How do you own property? This, whatever issue you're thinking about, driver's license, mortgage, blah, 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 all of those issues could get clarified through the Supreme Grand Council. And that's not how I feel about it. Again, that's what Noble Drew Ali set up with the Moorish Science Temple of America. That is the structure. Not my opinion, not my belief, not how I feel about it. And if you think that I'm incorrect, please just provide the evidence to the contrary. Is it remotely possible that the teachings of Noble Drew Ali did the best he could, but did not have it all figured out? I mean, there's a lot of things that's remotely possible. You know what I mean? It's remotely possible that I'm a magician. You know what I mean? It's remotely possible that, you know, you'll be a trillionaire tomorrow because you'll invent. I mean, but how about let's deal with the actual tangible? You know what I mean? If was a fifth, let's deal with the tangible. Are we following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali? No. So can we even truly assess the effectiveness or the effectiveness of Noble Drew Ali's teachings if we are not even following them according to what he taught? No. So before we get to questioning who I feel is a prophet sent by Allah, just to be clear, before we get to questioning his teachings, how about we make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's and we got everything in order? How about let's get to that first? You feel me? That's my perspective on it. These are the same modern European that labeled us Negro, Black, and colored. Of course, they will label more sovereign citizens. No, no, you're incorrect. And just simply to have this idea or this belief that modern Europeans or all Europeans are somehow against Moors, I mean, it's ignorant, it's foolish, it's not what Noble Drew Ali taught in any of the literature anywhere. Um, it's not what Islam is about. It's not what Prophet Muhammad taught, peace be upon him. It's not what the Quran teaches, peace. That was brought by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So, yeah, just that mentality, man. You gotta clean yourself up because that's the wrong way to go about thinking. Um, thank you, thank you. Six, I'm glad you I appreciate the honesty. This Ogan Amaru Z, I believe it, maybe that's how you pronounce it. But Ogan Amaru, the person that was asking the Noble Drew Ali couldn't have figured it out. That's why he further goes on to say that's why Aboriginal Republic of North America have created our own jurisdiction. With all due respect, to the Aboriginal Republic of North America, whatever group that is, more power to you. You know what I mean? Much love, respect. Go do your own thing. I don't have any idea what you teach or what it's about, but I mean, as long as you're respecting the laws of the government, man, much respect to you. Do your thing. what I'm speaking about though is the Moorish Science Temple of America. For Moorish Americans, Moorish American Muslims, people that follow the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, and just clarifying it for Moors. You know what I mean? Uh, so I'm not here to try to say which groups are not right and what these other groups are doing wrong. More so just to clarify with the Moorish Science Temple of America with Moorish Americans, so there's no confusion. Um, yeah, yeah. Mr. Sharif Anail Bey was on Pocket Watch and he was setting it straight. He stands for what you're speaking on right now. Islam, you know what I mean? Um, that's a good thing. We do have to clarify. Ways by Jungle. Have you proclaimed your American national, state citizen, or U.S. national status yet? Or are you still considered a U.S. citizen? I don't even know what you mean by American national versus state citizen versus U.S. national. Um, um, yeah, I don't know what you mean about those. So yeah, no, I don't. I haven't proclaimed those because I don't know what those are. Um, yeah, I'm a Moorish American. You know what I mean? American citizen of the United States of America. That kind of simple. Um, right, swindle hoodwink. If you notice on my channel, I don't go after the temples. I expose the sovereign citizen Moorish. Right, respect. You know what I mean? I appreciate, and you know, I do appreciate um, anybody, Swindle or whoever it is that may be critical of Moors or, Moorish individuals that are doing these things that are anti-government or that can be classified as sovereign citizen movement, sovereign citizen activities. Um, I appreciate and respect the individuals that are able to criticize those people, but understand those are individuals and don't represent the collective of Moorish Americans or the collective of the Moorish Science Temple or just followers of Noble Drew Ali. You know what I mean? As long as, we're striving to, and that's why I said I need to do my part in providing clarification from a Moorish American, so that it's something people can point to and say, no, this person is saying very clearly, according to this, that, and the third, Moorish Americans are about this. They're about respecting the government and respecting the law. So those individuals is doing something different. You know what I mean? And it's not fair to use those individuals to classify all Moorish Americans as Moorish sovereign citizens the same way the very same way, it's not fair to take individuals who are European that may be racist or prejudiced or bigoted towards, Moorish individuals or so-called black people and paint all Europeans with that same brush because it's simply not true. You know what I mean? So we have to be mindful of that. You know what I mean? More specifically to the person that was in the chat kind of thinking like that. Let me finish up here. Noble Arms. What temple made Taj Tarik Bey a Grand Sheik? That is a good question. That is a good question. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, that's the funny thing, man, is how Allah is the best of planners. You know what I mean? I have never met, don't know, just stumbled on a new more orders page. It just so happens, and that's why I just have to laugh sometimes because the questions are objective questions and objective statements and points of fact that you could feel a way about it. You know what I mean? I felt a way about it. But I said, well, let me look into this for myself. And I scrolled on the website. Whether I like it or not, RV Bay Publications is up on there. Anti-government groups. And also, let me just say this. I don't even know who's a part of RV Bay Publications. But whoever is running the site, if you aren't anti-government, if you aren't those things, then please make that clear. Please stop, teaching the things and promoting the things and associating with the people that are doing the things that would get you classified as anti-government. You know what I mean? Just my humble opinion on if you're not that, you should make it clear. I'm not that. Don't associate me. But I haven't seen, I don't know who runs RV Bay. I haven't seen them make any statements, you know what I mean? And that in itself is kind of, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just saying. Let me finish though. Let me finish out. Um, my fault. Dang. Let's see. And I see certain comments. I really, just to be transparent, I really have been doing my best to not provoke certain individuals and not to try to antagonize anyone. So, um, yeah. Um, and they got FBI files that would show what happened the last time the Moorish Science Temple of America was being investigated. Indeed, I've actually studied um, I printed out all of those FBI files and studied it in depth. It's a lot of things that's redacted, um, but there's a lot of information in there that is very important and Moorish Americans should study. Um, um, let's see. You, Sabir El Bey, you are in violation more of the covenant. Um, I don't even know if you're talking to me, and I don't know what covenant you're speaking about, but um, yeah, beautiful, amazing question. Who is even worthy of being on the Supreme Grand Council? War. Now, when we get to that question, it's a lot of folks that got a lot of explaining to do. You know what I mean? I'll say this, that if you have been in this movement for however many years and you don't have any past history of trying to make an effort to even reestablish the Supreme Grand Council, you know what I mean? What does that say about you? Now, I'm just saying these are the laws that was handed down by Noble Drew Ali. And the people that are in that are failed to that are put in positions as leaders of the temple and then fail to follow the laws, he says considered a traitor and an enemy. Not what I said. You know what I mean? Um, and that's we all make mistakes. And that's part of me doing this video, accountability. You know what I mean? Some of our elders, some of them people, you know what I mean, is uncles and grandpas is up in the movement that's been in here 20, 30 years. It's okay to admit, you know what? We made a mistake. I made a mistake. We should have got the Supreme Grand Council right, and we didn't. You know what I mean? We need to get this right. It's okay to admit that we made mistakes. It's not okay to just ignore like it's not the reality. You know what I mean? And just keep on down the road going the wrong way. Once you know better, you got to do better. Um, but to answer your question, I don't know. That's a whole process in itself on who should be on the Supreme Grand Council. You know what I mean? But my first thing is like, first, all Moorish Americans need to understand what the Supreme Grand Council is. You know what I mean? And we got to hold these people that are in positions of leadership accountable and get them about the way if they haven't been doing their duty and their obligation. You know what I mean? And understand that that is teaching us to be better citizens. So when we do that with our organization, we can also help do that with our government and our country. You feel what I'm saying? But we got to understand process, structure, obeying and following the laws of the government. You know what I mean? It's procedures that we got to go by. We can't just do what we want. You can't just take over and say, well, now I'm the Supreme Grand Council. Just like we can't just take over and say, well, now I'm a Supreme Court justice. It don't work like that. You know what I mean? Even if you disagree with the leadership, you can't just you can't just strong arm your way into the White House or into the Moorish house or you know what I mean, whatever. Um, Ways by Jungle. Taj has spoken against sovereign citizens. I've never heard him encourage anyone to call themselves sovereign citizens. I don't think, just to be clear, I don't think I ever said that Taj encouraged anyone to call themselves sovereign citizens. But what I am saying, Ways by Jungle, is Taj teaches activities and things that are identified and labeled and associated with sovereign citizens. And sovereign citizens are classified as domestic terrorists. So, regardless of what Taj is saying, his actions are showing otherwise. If you understand what I'm saying, and you could disagree, you could feel like it's not right for them to associate his teachings with sovereign citizens. You could feel that way, but that don't change from the fact that that's what it is, though. You know what I mean? Um, let's see. Dang. Oh wow. We'll get to that one. Sabir El Bey, you are a traitor, Rami. And you're entitled to your opinion. Um, all due respect, if you don't know what an American national, state citizen, or U.S. national status is and how it differs from being a U.S. citizen, I learned it would help. Um, Ways by Jungle, you're entitled to feel how you feel. Let me ask you this question. Did Noble Drew Ali ever mention the phrase American national? No? All right. Moving on. Hmm. Tell them look up local actual allegiance. It's in Black's Law Dictionary. It's under allegiance. Allegiance is a very important word to look up in law. They and I yeah, 1 second. 1 second, though. 1 second, though. I was gonna be lazy, but I said, man, don't be lazy, man. Don't be lazy. It was right there. Boom. I appreciate all the comments. You know what I mean? Even if I see things differently, I appreciate the comments. Bam, Black's Law Dictionary, fourth edition. Allegiance is on page 99. Got 99 problems, but allegiance ain't one. Allegiance, obligation of fidelity and obedience to government in consideration for protection that governments gives. The citizen or subject owes an absolute and permanent allegiance to his government or sovereign until he becomes a citizen or subject of another government or another sovereign. Mm. The alien owes a local and temporary allegiance during period of his residence. Mm. Interesting. Acquired allegiance is that binding a naturalized citizen. Local or actual allegiance is that measure of obedience due from a subject of one government to another government within whose territory he is temporarily resident. From this are accepted foreign sovereigns and their representatives, naval and armed forces when permitted to remain in or pass through the country or its waters. Mm. Allegiance. That's why it's important to study law. Like I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, on earth, and never and justice for all. Amen. Islam. Islam. Um, chapter 25. Chapter 25. Chapter 25. Chapter 25. Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Oh, maybe is that what dude was referring to a covenant? Maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know. If it was some type of I'll be clear though. If it was some type of Masonic covenant, you know what I mean? I'm not a part of that. You know what I mean? I've never been a part of a Masonic organization or a Shriner organization. So, if you talking about a covenant like that, Noble Ali didn't teach that either. Just saying. Um, yeah, like James Blunt. If you were born in the United States and you're an American, your bloodline has absolutely zero to do with your citizenship. And yeah, see, like you're that's by the laws. You're an American citizen if you were born here, descendants of Moroccan and born in America. Hence, Moorish American. And we couldn't be Moroccan Americans because we're not, Morocco is actually over there, so we can't claim that. This is something I was just thinking about. We're not Moroccan Americans because there are people from Morocco that come here and they're Moroccan Americans. We're not more Americans because we're not the more in that sense. You know what I mean? From 700 to 1492 that they reference. We're descendants of Moroccans, or descendants of the Moors, or descendants of North Africans, or descendants of the Muslims and born in America. But I'm sorry, I'm getting way off track. Let me not even get into all of that. Um, but my point was that Jane, that it's important. Sometimes you have to realize that it's certain individuals that don't care about the facts of the matter, and they'll just keep going on and on and on. So sometimes you just got to learn when to just ignore them. You know what I mean? Rather than keep going back and forth. Some people they don't. They refuse to accept the truth even when it's right there in their face. Um, there's actually a line in the Quran in that. You know what I mean? Since it's Friday, I might as well go ahead and drop that on them. It says, "And these your sons will be the first to tell the news and teach the gospel of goodwill to men and peace on earth. And a mighty work is theirs, for carnal men want not the light; they love the dark. And when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not." You know what I mean? But let me get back to the questions real quick when we finish up. Mm, come on now. Come on now. Oh, we get into that law today, boy. Nationality is that quality or character arising from the fact that you belong to a nation. People can naturalize. It doesn't have to be bloodline. Come on now. Islam. Islam. Let me get a little sip of this water. I'm fasting right now, so all I got is the water for me. Oh man. I mean, that's just a simple fact. You know what I mean? People could feel how they feel, but the facts is the facts. Um, Taj a Mason acting like he with the Moors. Come on, man. Um, yeah. The comments is funny, yo. Rashawn Bey. Brother Rami, did Brother Jess Braswell Bay answer your questions on the Supreme Grand Council? No. Um, it's a lot of questions. Braswell Bay. Um, well, I don't even want to get into all of the people that are claiming to be the head individuals, but to any of those individuals, be it Braswell Bay, this could apply to anyone that considers himself a grand sheik or the leader of the Moorish Science Temple of America, anything like that. Where is the documentation? Where is the records? You know what I mean? Of the past Supreme Grand Council rulings and meetings. Who is on the Supreme Grand Council currently? When were they appointed to that position? When was it voted on by the Supreme Grand Body? All of these things. You know what I mean? Um, I don't really feel like getting too deep into that aspect of the movement because that's something very particular. And this video is more so about more sovereign citizens, Taj Tarik Bey. You know what I mean? But as it relates to that issue, with all due respect to people's feelings, put the feelings and associations and the people that you came up with, put all that to the side, and let's put the facts on the table. You know what I mean? Um, and I just would like the facts to be put on the table for everybody to see. Not, let me just contact Rami on the low, you know what I mean? And I'll give you the information, but you got to keep it. There's none of that. This is information that should be available for everybody. It should be clear to everybody who is the authority or who is seated in the Supreme Grand Council because of the duty and obligations that they're tasked with. They can't be in secret. You know what I mean? According to the law. What Noble Ali said, not what I'm saying. um, he mentioned American citizens, which is not the same as U.S. citizens. Okay. I mean, Ways by Jungle. Um, if you feel, if you feel that when he was saying American citizens, that he's not speaking about citizens of the United States of America or U.S. citizens, cool. You can feel that way. I'm not even here to argue with you. But you know what Noble Ali did not teach? Challenging the jurisdiction of the United States of America, be it U.S. citizen or American citizen. He did not teach for us to not have driver's licenses or to not pay our taxes or that we don't have to pay mortgage or we can just claim property and take over property. And we just put up a notice and send this writ in and now it's ours. Noble Ali never taught that. You feel me? Uh, let's see. Finishing up here. Tahir, Tahir, the Bruce, they label us black as a whole. Does that mean that's what we are? Um, I don't really understand that question. Yeah, sorry, I don't understand that one. Yeah. Um, we are who our ancestors were without a doubt or contradiction. Yeah, according to our religious texts, I feel you 1,000%. You know what I mean? But I don't think that. Never mind. I just feel you. I'll leave it at that. So why aren't we the more or the more? Because it's. So I mean, so who's gonna be the more or all collective? Are you saying all of us collective we're the more? Like it's more, more is like Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I don't even have the energy to get into that aspect of it, man. Um, but Noble Ali said in our Quran questions for Moorish Americans, what is your nationality? Moorish American. The next question said, why are you Moorish American? Because we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. Now, I didn't make that up. I'm not the prophet. So if you want to know, well, why did you call us that and not more American or Moroccan American? You probably got to ask Noble Ali. You feel me? I'm just going by the teaching, you know what I mean, of a person that I consider to be a prophet. As simple as that. You know what I mean? Like you want to say, you can identify yourself as a Moor, that's cool. You know what I mean? Or if you want to say you're Moorish, cool. Whatever you want to do you. You feel me? I'm a black American and a Moorish American. Boy, I tell you. I mean, if that's what you want to do you, man. But Noble Ali didn't teach that, just to be clear. Uh, I, you know, I answered. Let me just make sure I answered all the questions. Um, and I don't mean that if me laughing, man, it's not out of disrespect. It's just funny, man. You know what I mean? Like that statement is funny. Um, yeah, man, let it go. LIG it, man. Let it go, bruh. Just let it go. You know what I mean? That and last, let me close. I don't see too many more questions. I covered the Moorish sovereign citizen thing, Taj Tarik Bey, RV Bey publications, and just again, the reason why I wanted, part of the reason why I wanted to emphasize and make this clear is because of what happened with the rise of the Moors militia group, and you know their actions not only got them into a whole lot of trouble, but also cast a terrible light on Moorish Americans and people who identify as Moors. And now, when you look, that was nationwide news. And when you look into um, Moorish Americans, or if you look up Moors, in the news, a lot of us, oftentimes you'll see a link or an article or a reference to more sovereign citizens or sovereign citizens who identify as Moors. And the rise of the Moors is an example of that. And you may not think that it applies to you, or you may not think that it affects you right now. But down the line, I know that it will cause a lot of trouble, or it has the potential to cause a lot of trouble to people that have nothing to do with that rise of the Moors militia group. And that rise of the Moors militia group has nothing to do with the Moorish Science Temple of America or Moorish Americans or the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. But it's important that we clarify, you know what I mean, and make the distinction, especially as Moorish Americans. We can't just leave it up to the news media and other press to, decipher and figure out who's who and what's what. Because if you're on the outside looking in and if you just look up Moors on the YouTube, you know what I mean? If you just pull it up, I mean, it's a lot of bad examples. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people doing things that don't um yeah, that just don't represent us the way we need to be represented. So, you know, man, beyond just me, you know what I mean? If you're a Moorish American Muslim, if you really following the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, make sure you make that distinction. Even if it's not in videos, when you're talking to your peoples or I mean, you're on social media, make the distinction about what you represent and who you follow and, what teachings that you stand on. And if you mixing the teachings, if you mixing some of that Taj Tariq Bey and you put a little of that Rod Moore, you put a little of this and that action, you try to whip that Moorish gumbo up like that, just I'm letting you know, you're putting yourself in danger. You know what I mean? And when them peoples When them peoples come, hey now, don't say Rami ain't say nothing. Don't say I ain't make it clear. You feel me? I try to tell people respectfully. I tried to tell people about the rise of the Moore situation before, long before it happened, and it was other people that were saying the same thing. And it's not a good thing that that happened to them. Understand that it's not a good thing that people getting locked up. You shouldn't want anybody to be in prison or in jail. You know what I mean? That's not a place for anybody to be, really. Um, but we got to be accountable for our actions. You know what I mean? As Muslims, you know what I mean? I can't compel you to do nothing. I'm just here to inform you. You know, what you do with that is, you know what I mean? How about Aline Bay? Another one. Another one. That's all due respect to Lean Bay, but the things he teaches, his organization, all of that, that's completely separate from the Moorish Science Temple of America. Completely separate from the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. Doesn't represent, isn't, and Moorish Americans shouldn't associate yourself with anybody's, any of these offshoot spin-off groups, whoever it may be. This is me talking. This is Rami talking. I'm saying Moorish Americans don't associate yourself with none of those spin-off groups. Follow Noble Drew Ali and Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Or not. Oh, goodness gracious, time. Or not. Don't follow them. That's we got free will. We here. I can't force you to do nothing. But understand, if you go you follow them other people, you finna get yourself into trouble. You know what I mean? Yeah, very much so, Pedro. I feel you, Pedro. Um, Linda, is Taj Tarik Bey a Mason? It seems like it. Seems like it. You know what I mean? I humbly would say you should ask Taj Tarik Bey to be certain. You know what I mean? I can't speak for him. You know what I mean? That's Allah knows best. Um, any other questions? And another thing, I'm seeing a comment. If you see Morris talking about, oh, the U.S. is just a corporation, and the UCC, what is those other languages? The UCC, the U.S. is just a corporation. Um, I'm forgetting another. I'm forgetting secure party creditor and the whole trust. If you see any more, it's talking about that kind of stuff. Understand, Noble Ali never talked about no secure party creditor. Never talked about the U.S. as a corporation. Never talked about accepting things for value. Never talked about some trillion, gazillion dollar trust that Moore's got access to. He didn't teach about none of that stuff. So please don't get, don't get misled by that. You know what I mean? There's people out here that's taking advantage of Moors. So be careful. Uh Man, I'm about to finish up in a little bit. Um yeah. No. See, here's the thing, man. Waves by Jungle. The US is a corporation. Prove me wrong. No. See, you made the claim, so you should provide the evidence. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. Did Noble Drew Ali teach that the US is a corporation? Can you show me that? I'm here. My stomach, man. All right. I'm about to finish up. Did the Prophet teach about reparations? Reparations is actually in the Quran, the Circle 7 Quran. You should check it out. It's very interesting. um, uh, what authority do you have over the Moorish Science Temple of America? I don't have no authority over. I don't, man. I never claimed that I did. You know what I mean? That's a funny question in itself. Um, all right, man. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep going on and on and on. Um, the chapter reparations. Reparation. The chapter on justice. Reparation is mentioned in justice. Justice. Okay. Check it out. Yeah, because and just to clarify before I get up out of here, um, you making a claim and then telling somebody to prove me wrong is like it's like illogical. You know what I mean? It's like you know I made $1 million back when I was 16. Prove me wrong. What? You know what I mean? Like, well, you proved that you made the 16. Like anybody can make any claim and just say prove me wrong. You know what I mean? Like that don't make no sense. Um, um, Pedro Whack-a-Mole. That's an interesting question. Let me close out on that. Do Moors who deny being descended from slaves deserve reparations? Well, um, to clarify, no human being is a slave or descended from slaves, as in an entity that was always, always a slave and always will be a slave. You know what I mean? So I just want to clarify. Now, people have been enslaved, unless you want to talk about the etymology of the word slave, talking about Slavic people, but you're speaking about enslavement. Now, people across the world have been enslaved, including Moors, and anybody, any more that denies that isn't studying the Quran Surah 7, because in chapter 47, it explains on line 16, through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. And that is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them. In 1774, and the word Negro, Black, and Colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods, plural, gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So every nation has suffered through slavery, and all peoples have been enslaved at some point in time through history, including Moorish people. But just to clarify, Moors aren't slaves, or Black people aren't slaves. Our people were enslaved, and anybody that tries to deny that simply just doesn't know history. You know what I mean? I hope that kind of clarifies the question. I appreciate the question. um, I appreciate the question, Pedro. Um, I think we'll be waiting for a minute. But I tell you what, Waves, um, you got the evidence. You know what I mean? Just drop it in the comment section. We'll be there. Thank you all for watching. Um, man, I hope this was informative in some way. Please forgive me if I offended anybody. It wasn't my intention. Um, Most importantly, I mean, no matter what, especially Moors out here, Moorish Americans, love instead of hate. We got to move with love instead of hate. Love is the key. Love is the way. Much love to you and yours. Even the haters, much love to you too. You have a great day. And assalamu alaikum to my Muslims out there. Peace.